Hey everyone, it's Synth Designer back again with another video. Today I'm going to talk about the basics of automation and how you can use it in your music. Automation is a very common technique used in electronic music. The reason why people use it is to give their songs movement, and you could do it essentially automatically without having to twist knobs and do things yourself. And the great thing about automation is it can give your song so much variety and just change it as it moves. Now, I can't possibly show you every single type of automation in this video, but I'm going to show you a couple of ways to kind of create movement in your song. And especially if you're a beginner, this will really help you out, kind of give you some ideas and just give you a sense of how automation can transform things in a song. Now, if you haven't already, go check out my previous videos on sound design basics. I have a whole playlist devoted to the basics. I talk about things like envelopes, different wavetables, how to use LFOs, and even show you some easy ways to create great sounds. This is a progression of that series, and I'm hoping that you get kind of a better understanding of how electronic music works and how you can use a lot of different cool techniques to create sounds. So let's get into the video. So I wanted to talk about this intro that I have with these kind of bouncy pads. And I'm going to start by showing you the filter cutoff. Now, as you can see, I have a ton of automation here. Some of it comes in later in the song. So I'm just going to talk about the filter cutoff for now, and I'll show you how it kind of works. Now, if we remember, filters are essentially cutting off certain frequencies. And the great thing is when you automate a filter, you can essentially close off certain frequencies. So what I'm doing here at the beginning of this song is I have a low pass filter opening up slowly as the song progresses. So I'm going to show you here, I have synth 1 filter cutoff here, and as you can see, it's connected to my serum filter cutoff. So I'm going to open up serum here, and why don't you just take a look at this cutoff knob as the song progresses. So you can see it went all the way from over here to over here. And as the song progresses, you can see it's just slightly opening up more and more. Now I have envelope 2 here connected to it. So on every chord hit, it essentially opens it up. But what happens is I have it on a set fixed rate to only open up this much, as you can see here on Serum, which great thing about Serum or Vital, for example, you can see exactly how much it's opening up, right? So I have that set up just to have a fixed rate opening up, and that kind of gives it a brighter, kind of punchier sound to the chord stabs. But I don't want it to be opening up all the way each time, right? So what I do is automate it. So with automation, I have the song slowly building up and slowly kind of opening up as the intro goes on, right? That's just one way you can kind of begin a song, just to kind of slowly introduce some ideas without kind of blaring that final version of what you want out of the synth. So I know I will want it to be brighter as in some parts of the song and less bright in other parts. So that's just a very simple way of kind of creating automation and getting it to work for you in a song. Another cool technique that I have here in this part of the song is I have my rhythmic element attached to my LFO rate, and then the LFO rate is actually automated. So let's take a listen. So you could hear the LFO rate actually increases. So why don't we open up that preset here, go to Silent 1, And as you can see here, my LFO rate will be changing. So let's turn it on and let's see how it changes here. And that's just a cool way of introducing kind of additional movement into your song. Now, an LFO already has the purpose of introducing certain types of movement or certain variation in your presets, but sometimes you kind of want to change it up, right? So in this part of the song here, I have the LFO rate static, right? But creating that variation is what kind of makes this part a little bit more interesting. So think of your LFO as kind of a way of introducing automation as well. Now, you might think of LFOs as a way that already introduces movement, like I said, but that shouldn't be limited just to the preset. Introducing automation with your LFO really adds a different kind of vibe and energy, especially kind of towards the tail end of certain phrases. That could really push it kind of to more interesting levels. Now, if you have it at a really high rate constantly, then it's going to kind of limit what you could do and limit kind of how your song sounds. But introducing that kind of variation really kind of adds a little kind of wrinkle to the song and makes it more interesting for listeners. Now, the last type of automation I want to introduce is very simple volume automation. Now, if we have the volume of certain aspects of the song at a steady kind of rate or a steady level, then it really limits the dynamics of the song. And every once in a while, you'll want to introduce something very, very subtly. So I'm going to take this little accent part here and let's play it. Now that's great, but I don't want that at the forefront of this little break here where it's kind of reintroducing another part of the song. So what I want to do is introduce it slowly and add this volume automation. So I have it with no volume, obviously, right now, and then it slowly builds up. Right? So that kind of gives you a little bit more movement, and it kind of slowly introduces the idea without it just popping up out of nowhere. So let's listen to it in context. So you could just barely hear that little accent part at the end. And that's really the idea. It's just kind of slowly giving you that vibe without it kind of being too present. So those are just kind of a few basic ways that you could use automation. And remember, as you could see just by this graphic here, I have a ton of different automations in this song. And the idea is play around with automations and don't be afraid to use it in any way possible. Music is really about creating variation and difference and finding it in unique ways. And one of the best ways to do that is through automation. I will probably do another type of automation video in the future, but I just want to give you a kind of broad overview and some very basic ideas of how you could use it in your music. So I hope you like this video, and I'll see you next time.